Hello, I'm Haley, and this is Taya, and welcome to Haley and Taya Supernatural and Start Over, and also sometimes talk about other stuff on podcast.
Also known as HATRUSA, and today we're talking about Season 1, Episode 13, Route 666, which originally aired on January 31st of 2006. It was written by Brad Buckner and Eugene Ross Lemming.
It says Eugenie.
Eugenie? My bad. Sorry, Eugenie.
I'd like to start out this episode by saying that this episode involves racisms, and neither of us are black.
Yes, it's very specifically about anti-black racism. There's gonna be mentions of
hate
crimes, Black Death, specifically because of racist reasons, and
racism in the 60s in Missouri. Buddy!
Missouri, yeah. Your cat was like...
Buddy hates racism, and you should too.
Yeah.
So, basically, the episode takes place in Missouri, in a really fun place. It's called Cape Girardeau. I don't know how to pronounce it, so that's how I'm going to pronounce it. And a man gets killed by a ghost truck.
Yes.
Specifically, he is a black man. And it spurs into what seems to be racially motivated murders. And obviously, what basically does turn out to be, yes, but through a whole other string, a whole web. There's a web. There's a ghost web. Dean gets a call. Oh my god. Dean gets called.
You good?
Yeah, I'm fine. Dean gets called by an old friend who we quickly find out wasn't just a friend. She was a girlfriend. And specifically, she was his first love. And her father just got killed by a truck. But it's so crazy. There's no other car tracks or anything. So that's weird. Sam doesn't think that it's our kind of job, TM, but Dean is like, no.
One of them always doesn't think it's their kind of job.
And they are confused. I'm going to struggle with this summary today, folks. So, okay. They go to the police station, and Cassie's like, all the victims of this have been black people. And the mayor's like, you calling me a racist? And Cassie's like, if the shoe fits. She doesn't say that, but she basically says that. And he's like, I'm not a racist. Ask your mom. And the Dean and Sam go and talk to a friend of, I think, the dead father, and are like, have you heard about this big black truck? And one of the friends, who is also black, is like, yeah, is it a big old monster-y truck? I remember that truck. And Sam's like, from where? And the guy's like, not from where. From when? And you're like, whoa! Because you find out that it happened in the 60s. I don't think we know much about the truck. It was involved in death. Oh, yeah. It was involved in the death of black men in the 60s. And then the worker is like, I have the quote in my notes. He says that the town wasn't too friendly to all its citizens. So we're like, okay, we're dealing with racism. Sam finds out that Cassie dumped Dean. Dean goes to meet with Cassie. They fuck. So there's a fuck. And then the mayor gets killed by the truck, and it's brutal. And then they find some information about the missing person man who owned the bad truck. And then Cassie gets threatened by the truck. And then Dean and Sam show up at Cassie's house, and she didn't get hurt or anything, just scared. And Dean is like, what the fuck? Do you know anything about this truck? Cassie's mom. And Cassie's mom, who was apparently in the house when the truck was there, is like, yes, I do. And Dean's like, whoa. And then Cassie's mom tells all about how it belonged to the missing man, Cyrus. Cyrus is the missing man. And then we find out, because she says he died 40 years ago, and Dina's like, the article said he went missing. How do you know he's dead? And then we find out why she knows he's dead is because her husband killed him because he was a big racist. And oh wait, first of all, the mother was dating Cyrus, but then also dating, what was the dad's name? Martin on the DL. And then she broke up with Cyrus, and then Cyrus was mad and racist, which he probably always was. But
yeah,
he basically does a bunch of hate crime, and then the night that they were supposed to get married, he burned, or the day before, I don't remember. He burns down the church that they were supposed to get married in, and there was a children's choir inside practicing, so he killed a bunch of children also. And then the night that they eloped, they being Martin and the mom, Cyrus chased Martin with his truck and beat him, but then Martin got the upper hand, and that's when he killed him. And they called in his friends who were part of the police? Question mark?
No.
No. Okay, well, they were just friends. One of them was, I think, something, and they put Cyrus into the truck and pushed him into the lake?
Swamp.
And then Sam and Dean go and find the truck, and they're like, we gotta burn it. But they don't burn it, because how do you burn a truck? But they burn the corpse inside, and then the black truck shows up anyway, and Dean and Sam are like, shit! And then Dean gets in the car, gets in baby, and Sam leads him over the phone to the hallowed ground of where the church once stood, and the truck disappears when it goes there. And then it disappears, and Cassie and Dean say goodbye, and they leave. That was a really rough time for me.
That was also, like, really long.
Yeah.
You had a few good ones where you actually hit the under 3-minute mark.
Oh, wow, that took a solid, 8 minutes, huh?
It did. It took a long time. Like, I started reading messages.
So,
in,
basically,
Discord servers.
I would do another take of this, but I feel like it is my duty to be raw and unfiltered for you, my listeners. So,
What fucking listeners, Haley? Which ones? Which of our, 3 listeners?
The gentle handful we have. So that is what I have for you. It was really messy.
It was. Holy shit, was it? Okay, so important things that Haley forgot. Number 1, Haley never explicitly said that Dean told Cassie about the whole Hunter thing, and that's one of the reasons she broke up with him. Sam is really annoyed about this because he always lied to Jess about this, because it's the family's number 1 rule. Don't tell people about this shit. Cassie still doesn't really believe in ghosts at first, but she was like, well, I can't explain it, so I just called you, which is kind of funny, because she's like, I think it's something for you, and then they get there, and she was like, I don't actually know if this is something for you. The people that Sam and Dean talk to that remember the truck aren't actually friends of Martin's. They're literally just some random guys at a dock. They don't even get named. They're just some dudes.
This is awkward.
Importantly, the the recent murders, the first one took place after the mayor, who was the deputy who covered up the murder of Cyrus Dorian after he found out about it. The first murder in the present day took place after he started construction on that land and bulldozed down the house. So that kind of...
Oh my god, I forgot to mention the bulldozing.
Woke up the ghosty. It's okay. We both didn't pick up on that when we watched the episode. Whoops. We're both a little confused on the timeline, remarriage and everything. But originally, Martin and Cassie's mom were going to get married in the church. They decide to elope instead. The night they were supposed to get married, that's when the church got set on fire. And then in the wiki, it says that Martin was caught by Cyrus and beat on their wedding night, but I don't actually know if that's accurate, and this wiki is not always accurate, because when you're watching the show, he's in, plain clothes. He's not,
Yeah.
I know they eloped, but, usually, you dress up a little. And also, it was, the middle of the night. And, if it was, the night they got married, why was he even out, you know? Anyway, when they pull the truck out of the water, they don't actually even think about burning the truck, which is really dumb, because they had already made a comment about how, he's so evil, it's even infested his truck. They just burned the body, and they're like, that should be good, right? And clearly it isn't. You guys already established that,
items.
His evilness is tied to the truck is also evil. And at the end, Dean kind of has this idea that, like, maybe he'll see Cassie again, and Cassie's like, I do not have hope for us. She's like, I'm a realist. Straight up, I'm a realist. This ain't happening, buddy. But Dean kind of thinks it does, and Sam is like, makes you think about quitting sometimes, you know? And Dean is just kind of like,
It's like, okay, I'm a nap now.
And this is another episode where it ends with them driving off into the sunset.
Right.
Yes. So I think that covers what was missed. But man, was that, no offense, Haley, that was really rough.
Listen, for the few episodes where I've done a summary that is short, you've had more where the summary's been 20 minutes long. So I don't want to hear it, and I'm going to move into my notes. My first note is...
Go ahead.
Radiostatic denotes ghost interference obvi, because when we are watching Martin driving the car and the radio, has static, and obviously...
Did we mention the mayor gets totally
No, but
killed?
I will.
The mayor gets killed?
Then I wrote, oh no, he is dead probably, because the car accident was pretty bad.
Oh, he was super dead. Super dead.
Ghost Truck has corporeal form, because Ghost Truck not only can hit other cars, but, like, leaves marks in the grass, but doesn't leave tracks long enough to be found?
Yeah, so, the truck obviously, like, can hit things, but I just noticed that when it was driving through grass, because, like, you know, it's just a truck they use, like, the grass bends, so, like, it's, like, it was just something I noticed, and I was just like, where does it, like, stop? Because it has enough weight to hit stuff, but it also has weight to just bend grass, but, you know, it's stupid, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because it's gone now. Anyway, Sam sweater, Dean leather, and then I did a little heart, because in the beginning, when we first see Sam and Dean, Sam's wearing this little sweater, Dean's wearing his leather jacket, and I was like, wow, love this. Sam is pissed that Dean told this chick in Ohio, is how it was.
Yeah, he says, he's like, I lied to Jess for a year and a half, which I thought they dated for longer, but he says a year and a half, about all of this, and you just told some chick in Ohio. Yeah. It was very good.
My next note, I took a little bit of a break-a-rooney. My next note is bolo ties, jerts, and knee boots, because that is the fashion we are introduced to with the characters in this episode.
It's some looks.
My next note is that Cassie is a woman of color, which I don't know why, like, I temporarily forgot, even though I knew that last week when I was going into the episode, and then we, like, talked about it.
And we literally had talked about...
And then I forgot.
We had already talked about it in
But then I saw her, and I was like, oh my god, so fun.
Wow, she's black. This is a surprise. It shouldn't have been.
It shouldn't be a surprise, but it was a surprise. So there's our...
Great job, Haley.
Thanks, Supernatural. You have one who never gets mentioned again. Anyway.
Well, they technically have other women of color, just not romantic interests.
Probably. Don't quote us on that.
I think. We don't quote us on that yet. We have 14 more seasons to go.
My next note is that Cassie has a shit fashion sense because her fashion sense is so bad. And
it's not her fault. The early 2000s weren't great.
Yeah, and also it's the costuming department's problem.
Oh my god.
There's a scene where the lighting is not great for Sam because his hair looks greasy as hell in the lighting, and it's very bad. And then when Cassie introduces Dean to the mayor? The sheriff? She introduces Dean and Sam to somebody and uses Dean's full name. Mayor. So I wrote, Cassie really used Dean's full name, huh? Dean Winchester, the legally dead serial killer. Because...
Not smart. I'm guessing they didn't tell her that he's a legally dead serial killer, according to everyone else.
Then I have the too friendly to all its citizens, just say racism. Cassie had a crooked as hell lacy cami on when Dean goes to see her. It was, like, crooked underneath the overshirt, and it was, like...
They were really into her wearing something over, like a cami with, like, a lacy border.
Yeah.
Which I know is very early 2000s, but, like, I was like, let this girl have a different look.
Right. But she doesn't, and she won't, because she's gone. Dean is allergic to emotional vulnerability. I think that might be, like, the second time I've made a note about this, but
But Cassie calls him out on it. They're trying to talk about their relationship, and he says, like, okay, we'll keep it strictly professional or something. And she's like, this happened all the time. Anytime we got close, like, or tried to have, like, some sort of emotional vulnerability, you just, like, joke it off. Like, and I was like, yeah, because he doesn't know what emotional vulnerability is,
He has
Cassie.
not been emotionally vulnerable a day in his life. And he won't be.
I mean, he has moments,
He
but
has
like he
moments.
struggles with it. He struggles with it.
My next note is sex. 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 Fuck. Sex. Sex.
Okay,
Because
moving on. Nope, moving on.
they fucked. Then so this is my one. I've written, imagine having your hand on Dean Winchester's pectoral.
I'm gonna kill you. I hate you. I hate you so much. You talked about this so much in the episode. I was just trying to move on.
It was our first sex scene.
It was our first. Okay, next note, Haley. Pull it together.
My next note is every bone crushed? Oh my god! Jelly corpse. Because the mayor got hit by the truck. He wasn't even in his own car. Got hit by it and it fucking demolished him.
It destroyed him. I don't know why. Like, I wouldn't even call this one of the goriest deaths in Supernatural.
But his body, good.
It, like, his body, he gets hit by the truck and his body gets thrown and he, like, rolls down a hill and you get a shot of his, like, head. And Haley and I both reacted so strongly to it. And I don't know why, because it wasn't that, it looked awful. And not awful in, like, the special effects were bad. Awful as in just, like, it was terrible to look at.
Yeah, it was
so
bad.
If you are, like, squeamish, don't, when he, like, gets hit by the car, like, look away for, like, a few seconds until you hear people talking again.
Yeah. My next note is ghost truck don't knock, boy. There's 4 eyes.
Oh my god.
That I wrote for boy. BOIII. There we go.
Nice. Thank you for that information.
Yeah, because just like when the ghost truck is at Cassie's door and is like, I'm gonna get you. She just, it was just like she was waiting for it to come in. And anyway.
Oh my god, yeah. She, like, was trying to, like, close the shutters of the windows.
Yeah.
And, like, for some reason, like, at one point, like, they all got blown open again. And I was like, is there a wind? Is things getting knocked over? But I was like, just go up, like, if you listen to the episode, like, commentary, it's just me yelling, like, go upstairs. Go downstairs. Go anywhere that's not, like, the front room or, like, your office, which are both, like, super accessible to this ghost truck. Like,
but she
go
doesn't.
anywhere.
She doesn't.
And she doesn't. She calls Dean, and the ghost truck was apparently just trying to freak her out a bit. I don't know why. You know what? I was about to say I don't know why it doesn't kill her, and I'm gonna have to assume, because they never tell us, that we'll pretend it's some misplaced, gross, like still leftover, like, possessive feelings for her mother, maybe, and her mom's in the house. That's the only thing I can come up with, because we get no reason for why this truck didn't just fucking destroy this house.
No, we're just told that it wanted to scare her. But my next note is Dean gets so defensive and pissed when he's onto something, because, like, when he realizes that Cassie's mom probably knows something, he like flips a switch and just is like interrogation mode. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what is happening right now?
Oh yeah, it's intense.
It's intense. My next note is 1,000 dead children. I don't know the exact number of dead children, but
1,000? It was a church choir in a small town.
So it was probably 1,000 children, give or take.
Okay.
Then
Are you gonna expand on that?
Yeah. My next note is we kind of talked through the big racism part on accident, but this is during the big racism part where it's talking about I already forget his name. Cyrus.
Yes.
And his awful hate crimes that he committed.
Yes.
And how awful they were. And the only reason that it wasn't reported is because
Nope.
No?
So, no. So,
was it the mayor was a deputy at the time?
He called, yes. So Martin, after he killed Cyrus out of self-defense, because if he didn't kill Cyrus, Cyrus would have killed him. He called either 3 or 4 of his friends, 1 or 2 of which I believe end up dead in this episode. I believe 2 of them die. So Martin and Jimmy both die. There is either 1 or 2 who survive this.
Jimmy's the second guy who died.
Yes.
Okay.
So they're the ones who help him push the truck into the swamp.
Right.
And then the mayor is a deputy at the time, and he is looking into this disappearance of Cyrus, and he actually finds out that he was killed by Martin in self-defense and hides that information and basically makes it a cold case. So that is why the mayor ends up getting killed, because before that we were like, what does he have to do? All the other deaths have been black people.
Right, right.
Well, that's why.
That's why, and that's why he was like, ask your mom why I'm not racist. So,
Yeah.
basically the moral of the story is we hate racism. And even this probably a little bit racist mayor in Missouri hated racism also. Don't be racist, kids. My next note is show me the bones. And then immediately after that I wrote I regret wanting the bones. Because we don't see bones, we see a mummified corpse.
I don't know if that's... I've watched quite a few episodes of Bones, and by that I mean several seasons, and I don't know how bodies do... I think that is actually right, because if you think about, like, bog mummies, and this was a swamp, so maybe this was the right environment for it, but it's just, we were expecting bones, and we got, like, this gross mummified thing, and neither of us were, I think, prepared for it.
Yeah, so it sucked. And then my next note is not baby, poor car, because baby got hit. The next note is the most important one. Oh my god, they're finally fucking wearing gloves, because they were finally fucking wearing gloves, which Taya pointed out it's probably because it was just cold out. But they were wearing gloves, you guys! The thing that we've been complaining about for 13
they were dealing
episodes.
With a tow truck. Yeah, this is the first time they wear gloves, which, again, one of our changes. These dudes are always wearing gloves. Always. Then my next note is Sam really weighed Dean's life on a good guess. Because Sam didn't know for sure if the church would work, but he was right. We actually I already can't remember if you actually explained the church part
Taya do not remember.
Yeah? Okay, so if we're repeating ourselves, we're sorry. If we're not, essentially Sam has Dean drive into the remains of the church that Cyrus burnt down with the children inside, and so basically he's baiting the ghost truck and it drives into him, but it doesn't hit him because when it crosses onto hallowed ground, because it's technically still hallowed ground even though the church no longer exists there, it destroys it. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I will say, because this is not going to be my wiki thing, that the wiki says that this is the only episode where an evil spirit has been defeated due to the fact that it crossed hallowed ground, and every other episode evil spirits and demons can still enter the church without harm. Sam, to be fair, does say sometimes that will destroy a spirit. We just got lucky this time, because it's the only time it ever happens in this show. But it was a good brother moment, because Dean was like, what would have happened if that didn't work? And Sam was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. My next note is Sam in the driver's seat, because Sam was driving, guys. Sam was driving.
Yes.
Sam drove baby. My final note is, ew! Saliva string, ew! When Dean and Cassie kiss for, the last time, they, make out a little bit, just in front of the Impala, and Sam watches, I think. But there's, when they pull apart... Sam was
probably looking away.
When they pulled apart, there was a very clear saliva string, and I hated it. I hate it so much. I hate it. I hated the fact that you could see it so clearly. I hated the fact that we could see it break. It was really bad. And that's all my notes.
Great. Glad that's what we're ending that section on.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to say, because one sec. I gotta die for a second.
That's fine. I mean, don't die, but, it's fine.
1 sec, I need a drink.
Oh my god, Taya's fucking dying on camera, you guys. I don't know why I said camera. There's no camera rolling. So yeah, this episode happened.
Okay. I did want to say, obviously, I'm not saying white people can't write about racism. I will say that I haven't been checking the staff for this. I have been reading some of the writer names, but I haven't actually gone onto their pages. I will say both the writers for this particular episode are white. I think as a non-black person, but a person of color, that they did handle it well. But I did just want to point that out, that this was written by 2 white people. That's all. That's all I had to say. I felt like it was important to note. I don't know.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, I'm back!
Welcome back.
So yeah, whatever Taya said. My internet died. Anyway, so we're gonna go into our...
Should we just...
blanking.
Is next crack shipping?
Segments!
Can we just skip this one?
Yeah, I was gonna say, my crack shipping, I literally wrote in my notes, nah, not today.
There's literally nothing here.
No.
We don't meet any characters, the same age who, like,
Yeah.
I would feel any like, even in like a crack shippy way.
Yeah.
There's not even like background characters in this one, really. Like,
Yeah.
people like sitting at a bar next to each other, like, that's not even a thing.
Yeah,
So
we just have
moving on.
So then we have Brought to You By. My Brought to You
Yeah.
By is Paradise by Sharif. It plays while they were fucking.
Haley, I wish you would stop bringing it up. And mine is Line of Love by the Miners, which I believe is when they're saying goodbye and he leaves with Sam.
Tragedy.
So good for this one for having two whole songs for us to talk about.
Not only 2 whole songs, but 2 whole songs with lyrics.
Yeah.
So
I will say that I really like the website we used to check our songs is tunefind.com, and on this one, according to it, in the TV/DVD version during the sex scene, it's She Brings Me Love. This show is completely on the nose when it comes to music choices, almost painfully so. Can we please change that in our rewrite? Just less, like, more subtle music, please.
Right, that doesn't have like what's happening in the title. That would be fine.
Yes, yeah, it's really funny when it's just what's happening.
Yeah, we can do that. And then our next one is favorite wiki. And I'm going to go first this time because I think you went first last time. Okay. So, my favorite thing on the Wikipedia page is, in the quotes section, the conversation that Sam and Dean have when Sam is reveals that he didn't know if it would work, and specifically the last line from Dean where he mocks Sam is like, well, it honestly didn't occur to me, and he's like, I'm gonna kill him. It was a very really good brother moment.
And by it, Haley means the whole hallowed ground of the church thing. Because Sam is like, I figured that would get rid of it. And Dean's like, what if you were wrong? And Sam's like, I don't know. It's very good brother moment.
Yeah.
My favorite is the entirety of the errors section. I'm just gonna do, there's 3. The last one I don't care about as much. I will say the first one I think is just a Wikipedia itself error, because it says the CW's official summary for this episode misspells Mississippi as Missouri. This episode takes place in Missouri. There is, at the top of these pages, the summary section before the plot actually is the official press release, and it says do not change in big bold letters, and it spells Missouri right, so I have no clue where this error came from. But the other one I really like is there is no way Sam and Dean could have attached the chain to the submerged truck without getting wet themselves. However, both are completely dry, which is so true because they would have had to like dig through like a swamp to find a truck, which definitely would have been more like out towards the center of it because it's been 40 years or something. Yeah. And like water moves things. Like someone would have had to go scuba diving in the middle of the night to find this truck.
Disgusting. Thanks.
They're both totally dry. They're just pulling it out. Like they were like, don't think about it. But we are here to overthink about everything.
Correct.
So
yay. That's fun for us. My rating.
Yes.
I struggled with this one because I really did enjoy this episode. This episode was rated very lowly? Is that a word?
Low?
Yeah, it had a very low rating on IMDb. But I don't think that this episode was bad. I think this is one of the more enjoyable episodes, which the word enjoyable is, I don't know if that's the word I want to use, because
it had like really good pacing, I felt.
Yeah, it was.
And I was attached to Cassie. There weren't like a lot of extra characters that I had to care about.
I think that it was.
I felt like it had a substantial plot line.
Yeah,
so.
It was a good episode that was good to watch, and I gave it a 9.2 out of 10 waterlogged mummies. Because
that's pretty good.
I liked it more than Scarecrow, and I gave Scarecrow a 9 out of 10.
That's fair. I think I like
10
this one more than Scarecrow too, because Scarecrow has good Meg moments, but
we literally liked it for Meg.
We liked it for Meg. I'm gonna say, because I do the IMBD part, that this has a 7.4 rating on IMBD, which makes it the second lowest rated episode of the season, and it is one of 2 episodes that are in the 7s. The only one below it is Bugs, and we hate bugs. We fucking hate bugs. And for reference, what was one we didn't like? Asylum? Asylum has an 8.5, which is a
bonkers
1.1 stars higher. And I truly think that has some level to do with the fact that this episode is about racism. Like, there's a
Yeah.
ghost, but every aspect of this episode is about racism. And you also have to wonder, because while Cassie does admittedly say herself in the episode that she is a realist and she does not think they're going to meet again, as far as we can remember, she is never, ever mentioned again in the entire series.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be super strange because they have a lot of, like, flings and girlfriends who will exist sometimes for multiple episodes who get dropped completely.
Right.
But as, like, Dean's, like, first love and first actual girlfriend probably in his life, aside from maybe the, like, high school one he had. I can't remember if he had a love interest during that part, but, like, let's be real,
sorta
high
did.
school doesn't really count.
Yeah.
High school doesn't really count, especially not that emotional level, but Cassie never comes back
Especially
in
not a
any
high school you were at for
capacity.
like a week.
Yeah, and you have to wonder how much of Cassie never coming back has to do with the low ratings and the fact that I'm gonna go with 80% sure that she is the only love interest either of the brothers ever have that is a woman of color.
Right.
Specifically a black woman.
Yeah.
So I think that's why this is rated so lowly, because I do not think it is bad enough as an episode to have this rating.
Correct.
That's it. Before I do my little thing, I do want to say I made a thread about it on Twitter, but last week I went on a very long rant about tarot cards because the Wikipedia said that they looked at the death card and I didn't go back to check. But when I went on, because I was actually going to talk about it a little bit more on Twitter anyway, because I've gotten really into tarot. I just think it's neat. But when I was going back and trying to get like a screenshot, because I was going to complain about the fact that the Reaper doesn't actually look like the skeleton on the card, I found that it's actually the magician card and not the death card. So I'm an idiot, but also it made me madder in a way because the magician card actually works for that episode, but they didn't do anything with it. Anyway, thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, review, share, follow, whatever you do on whatever platform you listen to us on. Please tell your friends and family, I guess, about this podcast because
yeah, you can tell your family
if they're okay with swearing and Haley repeatedly saying the word fuck. Because currently our only way of marketing this podcast is word of mouth.
If you tweet at us 5 times, you get that.
Which is a lot of times.
It's a lot of times, but that is what it takes for you to be able to say anything you want within reason. For me to say it for you out loud in the podcast. But if you just like tweet
forever.
at us once or retweet, you get a personal shout out. So
you should do
really
it.
Cool.
You should share this podcast. We're very entertaining, maybe.
We're so funny. We're so
funny.
Hey, Taya.
Hey, Haley.
How much do you love Psychic Sam?
I really love Psychic Sam. Why?
Well, that's really good because we're gonna catch some more Psychic Sam in the next episode, which is the 14th episode of Season 1, Nightmare. So,
hell yeah.
Stay tuned for some special boys.
Yes.
And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.